Welcome back to another episode of the Slack Adjusters. I'm one half of the Slack Adjuster, Tim Motivates, with my player partner, Celine.
V
V
World,
World.
what's happening? What's happening, man?
Man, I'm great, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. We back at it. We back at it, bro. What's on your mind today?
Man, I think same thing's on a lot of people's mind. That money. Boom, boom, boom.
Mhm.
Don't. Some
Da-na-na-na.
people
Yeah.
got to have it. What else?
Mm-hmm.
Some people really need it. All
Yeah,
right,
they
I'm done
thinking out.
singing.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
I'm done
They do
singing. Ain't
things.
no.
They do things, don't they?
Just
Yeah.
had like 3 people click away from the video. Just
Man, you was vibing, boy. You were vibing. But no, that's a good question. What would you do in the event? Like, what is your mindset if the dollar was to crash? That's the title of the video.
man,
Um,
I don't think a lot. The average person don't even know what the hell that means. What do you mean a dollar crash? Can you imagine like being on the street
mhm,
and us talking to like people like, "Hey, ma'am, what would you do if the dollar crashed?"
right.
The average person probably gonna look at you like, "Hell, you mean dollar? What
The
you
hell
mean
you
like a
talking
dollar
about?
fall out my pocket and crash on the ground?" Like,
Exactly. And
explain to people
exactly
what you
right.
mean by the dollar crash, bro.
Yeah, exactly. The devaluation of the dollar, and could it happen? And just a little history about what fiat currency is. Like the paper dollar, that $1 bill that's in your pocket, that piece of paper is no different than a piece of sheet of notebook paper outside of the fact that people have faith in it and what gives it value, right? So, the dollar used to be backed by gold, right?
Okay.
That's what really gave it value until about 1971 when America went away from the gold standard, and that started this slow downward trajectory that we're in right now. And we're getting close, right? We're getting very close to, um, seeing maybe even in our lifetime what could be a crash of the dollar.
So, for the people in the back that don't understand what Salim's talking about, if you're 30 years old or older, you remember back in the day, you could like um, buy a lot of stuff with your paycheck. Like, okay, rent was $500 a month when I was 18. I got my first apartment, $500 a month. I could pay my rent with like 1.5 checks. Now that same apartment is renting for like $1,200. That's what Celine means. Like the value of the dollar doesn't it's dropped and the money doesn't go as far. All right, proceed, Celine.
No, no, you're right. The money does not go as far. And what's crazy is if you think about it, let's say let's say for instance, you let's say for instance you just go and cut down like a piece of lumber, a 2x4. We talked about this before. A 2x4, which is not even a 2x4, true by the definition of the word, a 2x4, 2 by 4 inches is not even a 2x4. It's like 1 by 3 or something like that. It's a change.
And I
But
haul that
anyway,
type of stuff all the time. Didn't know it. Go ahead.
right. So if you were to go out there and make a 2 by 4, right, and the process it took, let's say, you know, 40 years ago to make a 2 by 4, is it the same as it is today? No, it's actually more efficient with technology, equipment. You can go cut a tree down, process that tree out, and make a 2 by 4. And it's so why does a 2 by 4 cost a lot more now than it did before, right? Where in actuality it doesn't cost as much, right? It's just that your dollar doesn't go as far as it did back in the day. That's the difference. Okay. So
Can I give one
so
more example?
yeah, go for it.
Guys, you remember the $5 footlongs at Subway? And you remember that we could get a
Great example.
$5
Yeah,
foot long.
right.
Anyway, after a while, like that $5 didn't go so far, so they were losing hella money by letting people buy these sandwiches stuffed full of everything for $5. So I think it
$5
became the
foot long.
$6 foot long. You
Right.
know, it like the money didn't go as far, guys. Like they had. Go ahead, Salim. I'm gonna
No, you're
let you
right.
rock
The
out,
five.
brother.
No. Listen, it's the $5 foot long. You know what I mean? And that was a great example. And even dollar stores, everything in the store is a dollar. I think they had to change the name of them stores. You know, it's not even a
Yeah,
dollar anymore. You
yeah.
know,
Five
and
below. It's like 10 and below now. You know.
right, yeah, yes. So that's just a whole thing where um, the dollar just does not go as far. So I think there, and if you've been paying attention, which most people haven't, gold and silver has been going crazy because gold and silver has always been a hedge, which is the real money. Okay, gold and silver is real money. It's been around for 5,000 years, and people have been using it as a hedge, or I mean, not they use it as a hedge on inflation now in these days, in these times, but it's the real true money, and people are starting to go back towards it because they're losing faith in the dollar, and they know that the dollar is going to crash here. It's inevitable. Okay, it's inevitable. Okay, so like let's say for instance, let's say and how that would look. When I got some videos, I'm going to show you how that could look. But and it's happened in recent times in our lifetime. Okay,
Okay.
and there's a lot of history. We can go through a lot of videos, but I want to start off by showing an example of a country that went through this. And a lot of people slept on this. It's only about less than a little bit over 10 years ago in a
Okay.
country called Cyprus, right?
Never heard of
Well,
it.
you never heard of Cyprus?
I've heard of Cypress
You
Hill,
never
the hip
heard of a
hop
country
band.
called Cyprus?
Worries
Okay.
stemming from that financial crisis in the
No,
Mediterranean
no.
nation of
Huh?
I've heard of
Say it again.
Cypress Hill. I've heard of Cypress Hill. Hip hop group,
Okay.
you know,
Well, let me
insane and
cue this up for
membrane.
you. There you go. There you go. Let me go ahead and show you this video. We'll start here. This is a very important video of an incident that happened uh, several years ago, and the reality of what could happen over here in America.
global worries stemming from that financial crisis in the Mediterranean nation of Cyprus.
Now, it has stocks sliding across Asia this morning, and it was a major reason for the Dow's 90-point skid yesterday. ABC's Nick Schifrin is in Cyprus, where worry and anger is rampant.
Cyprus is nearly broke, and the social fabric is beginning to tear. Bank workers worried about their future blocked access to parliament. Lawmakers had to be lifted over the barricades. Outside the banks, the lines are long, customers worried.
If you don't have cash now, can't do anything.
The banks haven't opened for 7 days, so Cyprus is becoming a cash society, and yet it's hard to get cash.
No accounts, no cards, no nothing.
And so what will they do?
God knows. Suicide.
Boom.
Wow.
Increasingly, this is happening. What happened?
There's no money, and I couldn't get any money out, and then my card won't come out.
That's the nightmare that so
Wow,
many
her
are
card
facing.
couldn't even
You had a
come
problem
out.
with this bank as well.
We
Right.
walked with her to the next ATM.
And psychologically, how much of an impact has this had?
Well, we feel so insecure. We feel very insecure.
Luckily, she got cash.
Does it feel like a relief?
Of course it does. Of course it
Grab
does.
that money quick.
Unfortunately, our lives depend on money these days, don't they?
Her life and her daughter's. Like so many young Cypriots, she lost her job, so she's moved back home.
I think this is going to be a very big shock, and people will be left with nothing.
The politicians need to secure a $20 billion loan to save the country. If there's no bailout by Monday, these banks may never reopen. Nick Schifrin, ABC News, Nicosia, Cyprus.
Bro, listen. Look. So you saw a country in modern day, and that was a well-developed country. ATMs, banks, hustle and bustling life, right? And you never heard about that back in the day. Huh?
I remember. I vaguely remember it now. It wasn't very long ago. It wasn't long
Couldn't
ago.
go in there and couldn't pull money out of the bank account. So listen, we're gonna watch a little bit longer video that talks about. Gonna give a little bit better insight on
How these things can happen.
how it could happen, how these things do happen, what so what how can I say this? What
Let me ask you
how our money works in a way.
quick.
Go ahead.
Can y'all imagine going to the ATM trying to get cash and the machine don't want to give you no money, and everywhere you go, whether it's Publix, the freaking
Depositors
gas
like
station,
little-
they're all telling you cash only. Cash only. Everywhere you go, cash
Right.
only. But there's no ATM
Right.
with money. There's lines hanging. That will cause a panic, bro. People gonna start fighting in the streets, fighting each other.
That's but that's not
You
even
jump
the
me
tip
in
of
line.
that.
You imagine
Right.
like certain parts of time, like I've been here for goddamn 30 minutes. Machine, I'm almost, I'm sorry, I'm panicking.
But listen, think about it. It's already happened. Like they already prepping for it, to be honest with you, because it's only a certain amount of money you can take out anyway right now. Right?
Yeah, I
And
recently I tried to take over 1,000 out of the ATM, and it was like you reach your limit for the day.
right. And then I think the you could probably call and up it to about 15 to something like that, but they won't let you take out more than that amount of money, right? $1,500, something like that. And you can only Zelle like 3,000 at the most. They got a limit on the amount of money you can move in a day.
Your own money
In a day. And then on top of that, they took away a lot of the bank after COVID. They closed down a lot of branches. So there's not as many bank branches out there as there used to be. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So once this thing jumps off and it's inevitable, they already got the game and they already know what to do. Shut down the banks. You're not going to be able to get a certain amount of money out, and then they're gonna force the crash actually on their own terms. But let's kind of dive into this video right here so we can get the conversation a little bit more juicy by educating it first. Okay.
Okay.
Did you know that the money parked in your bank account is not actually yours? That's right. In accordance with the 2008 Dodd-Frank Act, the international banking charters were changed so that bank depositors like little old you and me were no longer actually depositors, but are now unsecured creditors. Today, we're going to talk about what it all means, bail-ins that is, and what I'm doing to minimize my risk of losing my money like all those poor unsuspecting people did in Cyprus's bailout back in 2012. Hey friend, I'm Brad Long and welcome to the channel where we help career burnouts get control of their money, move toward financial independence by starting and growing an online business. So in today's video, we're going to continue our discussion about a possible economic collapse and the Great Reset and some of the implications if the plan is actually implemented as outlined by the World Economic Forum and other global entities. If you missed my introduction to the Great Reset, I'll leave a link below and I'll make sure to share that at the end of this video as well. So how much money do you have in your bank account? What would you do if it were to just disappear? These are important questions, and I'll share with you what we in our community are doing to try and step out of this thing. First, some important background. The 2008 financial crisis saw the emergence of the term too big to fail, or TBTF, where governments used taxpayer funds to rescue what were considered systemically important banks from total collapse. As you probably remember, this didn't go over very well with the public, resulting in the US Congress passing the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Act of January 2010. And while this act eliminated the option of bank bailouts, it introduced the equally, in my opinion, odious idea of bank bail-ins. So what's the difference between a bail-in and a bailout? So let's start with a great explanation provided by Investopedia, and I'll link this article below. A bail-in and a bailout are both designed to prevent the complete collapse of a failing bank. The difference lies primarily in who bears the financial burden of rescuing the bank. With a bailout, the government injects capital into the banks to enable them to continue to operate. The government doesn't have its own money, so it must use taxpayer funds in such cases. With a bank bail-in, the bank uses the money of its unsecured creditors, including depositors and bondholders, to restructure their capital so it can stay afloat.
Were we talking yesterday about the debt, the debt ceiling, the debt that America has, $37 trillion of debt?
Yeah, we spoke about that.
Okay. And I don't know if I spoke with you. I've been talking to a couple people about this. America has $37 trillion of debt. And then, so who is that debt to? That's a deep conversation. But a lot of it's tied up in bonds, U.S. bonds, right? And a lot of Americans hold their U.S. bonds. So if America wanted to solve their debt crisis, they can just say, "F you, America." People of America that hold the bonds, we're just not going to pay you on this money, and we're just going to cancel it out, right? We're going to take that money from you, and we're going to save the country. That's what Cyprus was doing. They weren't going to let those banks were not going to let those people have their own money, because if everybody took their money out all at one time, it would crash.
Yeah,
those banks. So this guy's saying the way to save banks is by not letting you get your money back out, and it's all written in the language of the banks already, and the laws allow them to do it. Isn't that crazy?
it is crazy, and it's funny how they wrote that law here in the United States around 2008. That was like right when we was in that last recession.
Yeah, they call it the Great Recession, and it was right after that, 2010. They wrote the Dodd-Frank Act, is what he was saying, and now every time they come say, you know what, boom, this is our solution, okay? And they write these laws in because they know it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I'll take you through it real quick. I don't want to get this. We can go with this
and
for
at the
hours.
end of this video,
Yeah.
I got a story of what happened to me around 2008.
But let me kind of interject with this real quick. Some of the signs. Once the gold standard went away, they took the gold standard away, that started the downward crash. And look, so some of the three top metals that are used for monetary purposes: gold, silver, copper. Okay, those were the three most highly used metals when it comes to make money, for currency. In 1933, America took all the gold away from America. You weren't allowed to own gold, and I need to, and they took it away because they used to pass around gold. 1930,
passing around gold.
Like the money was made out of gold. Gold coins. The government will issue gold coins.
Okay, before they were like making paper currency and stuff.
No, before they were making, like, what you have today is just made out of zinc.
Right. So back then, you're saying like they had dollar coins, they had
$3
coins.
They were made out of gold.
Blah blah blah. And I guess it was the ounce, like the weight was basically the value of it.
Yes.
Got you.
Exactly. So dimes and quarters were made out of silver. Pennies were made out of copper. In 1933, they stopped making money out of gold. I mean, they took it all back. I don't know when they actually stopped it, but in 33, they said you had to turn all that gold in. Look, in 1964, they stopped making the quarters and dimes were not made out of silver anymore.
Right.
What
year was that?
Like 1964 was the last year. In 1965, they went to zinc. In 1965, okay, a cheaper metal. In 1985, they stopped using copper to make pennies. Okay, so year after year, these metals started getting. It was more expensive. The value of the metal was worth more than the value of the actual currency.
Right. So why would you spend, 3 cents to make a penny that's only worth 1 cent?
Exactly.
Basically. All right.
That's where we at. And even the dime, one of them dimes today, a 1964 dime right now, is worth like $3.
Versus back then it was worth
10
cents.
cents.
Because it was made with real silver.
Silver, a quarter is worth like $8 right now. I mean, does that not tell the tale right there in your face? I mean, like, people don't think it's this stuff is real. It's all made up. It's like, bro, you see it coming, but people don't pay attention to it. And that's what we're here to do, to educate. But and so as a result of all that, they took away the gold standard. They took away the real money, the real that you held in your hand, and they issued you this weak ass currency, fiat currency, paper currency, and in zinc, which is not worth much. Let's let it keep rocking.
Unsecured creditors, depositors, and bondholders are subordinate to derivatives claims. Derivatives are the investments that banks make among each other, which are supposed to be used to hedge their portfolios. However, the 25 largest banks hold more than $247 trillion in derivatives, which poses a tremendous amount of risk to the financial system. To avoid potential calamity, the Dodd-Frank Act gives preference to derivative claims. So what does all that mean? It means that you and I, as depositors, are hosed if there's ever a financial meltdown that causes our bank to fail. It means that both we, as depositors, as well as any bondholders, are subordinate or last in line when it comes to being made whole. It means that all of that cash, likely representing weeks, months, and years of your toil, can be benevolently confiscated, actually turned into completely worthless bank stock without our permission, in order that your bank doesn't completely implode. It's for the greater good. Pretty infuriating, right? And who is first in line to be made whole? The colossally irresponsible fat cat bankers who create all of these incredibly risky derivative contracts are deemed more important and given preference over Joey and Jilly bag of donuts, you and me, in the case of a financial crisis. So just like in the 2008 crisis, the financial institutions that cause the crises with their incredibly risky behavior get full repayment. Oh, and if you're thinking, aren't my deposits covered under FDIC insurance? I wouldn't hold my breath on that, as one, the joint FDIC Bank of England document makes no specific mention of FDIC insurance, and two, in a major financial collapse, the FDIC would not have enough capital to cover the losses. So the next question is, two, can this really happen? Yes, absolutely it can, and it already has. Let's look at the case of Cyprus in 2012. I'll link this article below. In July 2012, Cyprus became the fifth Eurozone country to seek a bailout from the EU in the amount of 17.8 billion euros. On March 16, 2013, the bail-in took effect. A 9.9% levy was imposed on the country's bank deposits over the government-insured limit of 100,000 euros, and a one-time levy of 6.75% was imposed on deposits below the insured limit. Deposits below 20,000 euros were exempt from the tax. So, in this instance, bank deposits over 100K were given a 10% haircut, and those under 100K were given a 6.75% reduction, while deposits below 20,000 were exempted. Now, I wouldn't hang my hat on that, as this event was not the result of a greater macro financial crisis. So what should you do about it? As of this recording, the current bail-in policy applies to banks in excess of 50 billion in assets. So possibly for the first time in your life, you need to understand the soundness of your bank as well as its level of assets. What we're doing to mitigate our risks to any future bail-in, and this is not financial advice, so please do your own research. This strategy will likely be fluid as the environment changes, but these are probably the most concrete of our current tactics. Number one, get all money out of big banks. Those are banks with 50 billion in assets or above. Number two, use a credit union or a local bank with monitoring of their policies and their financial health. Number three, move larger cash sums to brokerage accounts like Vanguard or Fidelity. Number four, own physical gold and silver. And number five, learn how to invest and custody private Bitcoin keys. And you can see my free Basics of Bitcoin guide in the link below on how to do that. Beyond that, our recommendations are always pretty simple at a macro level. Number one, get out of all consumer debt and mortgage debt if you can. Number two, build a giant emergency fund of at least 6 months to a year's worth of expenses. Number three, diversify a reasonable percentage of your net worth out of fiat denominated assets into gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Number four, diversify your income by starting an online business as a side hustle. Now, I know that all this may be...
Look, we're going to end it right there because we're about to wrap up anyway. But look, he kind of, we'll link that video. He kind of went into some good points of what you should do to
I feel overwhelmed.
What? Look, man, bro, listen.
The hell, I don't have none of that. I don't have any of that shit. All my money's in a big bank. I mean, I don't own any physical gold or silver. I have some gold chains.
Yeah, that's I bet you them gold chains are worth a lot more than what they used to be.
I got a pinky ring.
Yeah, go turn in and get some cash.
I don't own any Bitcoin.
I don't agree with Bitcoin.
I
I'm
don't
not
have
a
6 months of savings. I'm gonna keep it real.
okay.
I don't have 6 months of savings. I don't. 6 months
Right.
of living expenses. It's a lot of damn money, bro.
Yeah.
I
A lot
got
of people.
savings, but God almighty.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the reason I say all this, people, I'm being a little coy, but I'm being serious at the same time. I think I'm really just speaking for the average American. A lot of people have been ignoring this crisis that's been going on every election. The politicians are telling us we're in trillions of dollars of debt. Our dollar's not worth anything. The economy will crash if we don't do this. If you vote for him, he's not going to do nothing for it about it. If you vote for her, she's not going to do nothing about it. They're always talking about the debt and all this stuff and what they're going to do, the rein in spending and all this stuff, which will help prevent the dollar from crashing. But people like me myself, when we think about these things, it's overwhelming. Hell, the first of the month is in a couple of days. We're trying to think about paying our rent. We think about a goddamn dollar crashing. Salim, we're trying to pay our rent. We're
Right.
trying to turn 2 into 4,
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
into 8, baby.
Hey,
You know
man.
what I mean?
Look, listen. Everybody got that live my life mentality, and you gotta. It's some hard discipline that got to be done. You gotta take some money. You gotta take some of that money and put it away. You gotta try to get out of some debt. You gotta try to, like you said, you know, invest in, diversify your portfolio a little bit, right? Don't just tie it all up in. I don't like the idea. Like, put it in a private institution. It's gonna be the same thing. Fidelity, Vanguard, stuff like that. I'm not saying which way to do. I don't give it financial advice. What I'm saying is you have to look at all the options and be aware of what's happening. I think the more people that's aware, the better off we all have a shot. You see what I'm saying? There's some people, listen, like, you might do some drastic things. There's people who do this all the time. I know this is not a popular opinion. There's a couple across the street from me. There's a house across the street from me that there's 2 families live in this. Like, I almost feel like 3 families live in that household.
What?
They probably got
how many people?
I don't know, man. It probably, but it's about, let's say 4, 5 maybe, and maybe a child or something. But it looks like there's 4 people there with 3 or 4 people working. And look, they're probably easy. They're probably financially stable now, right?
Are they
Because,
American? Are they
yeah,
Americans?
yeah, they are. They are American.
Because that's not the American way a lot of times.
And that's what more Americans might need to move towards. And there's a couple of actually people in this neighborhood. I see a family with a mom with her 2 sons, and the 2 sons late 20s,
Yeah, you see that.
early
Especially
30s.
as within the last 5 to 10 years, a lot of
People are not moving out no
children
more. They're
still
just
living.
staying at home and stacking money and staying with their family, just making it work like that.
Can you
There's a
imagine
lot of
trying
that
to get
going.
some with your parents in the other room? You know what I mean?
Hey, bro, I
Trying
don't
to tear it
know.
up
I don't know how they're getting it done, but I just know
in the
that,
car, in parking lots, back of the Walmart.
bro.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm drifting.
They stacking their money though. You see what I'm saying? They stacking their money. So things like that. But you got to do it. You got to be responsible with that money. You can't just keep saying, okay, we live with mom, we got some money freed up, we live with dad or whatever, and we taking trips. We buying gifts and
I got a trip plan right now.
yeah, I know you planning.
Out of here. Fucking out of here. So look, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know you're trying
Yeah.
to be serious, but in the beginning of that last video, he spoke about during the financial crisis, they made up that law to where your money's not yours anymore if it's in the bank, right? I remember around that time is when most jobs and employers started implementing direct deposit. Before that, most people they got a physical check, they would take it to their bank themselves, or they would take it to a check cashing place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But a lot of employers required that you get direct deposit, so you had to get with a bank, and you had to, because I get companies that want to print 1 million checks every freaking
Right.
week, right?
Right.
So I remember the financial crisis was starting. Everybody was like, this stuff was on the news, like the stuff that happened. Well, Cyprus happened a few years later, but we all knew that the the economy wasn't stable and the banks wasn't stable. They were being bailed out. So what I was doing was I would take my money every Friday when that deposit hit. I would take all my money out. Like if I got paid $150, I took out 140, right?
Yeah.
And I would keep the cash on because we didn't know the banks were failing back then. We didn't know. Do you remember that? I don't know if you did this, but I needed every penny of my money. My money already wasn't going far enough. I had around this time, bro, no lie, I had eviction notices on my door every month because I paid my rent around the 10th of every month. You know what I mean? Around the 9th and 10th. I was taking my money out because I needed it, So I think if people who were people who was around during that time, if they're looking around and really paying attention right now, it's starting to feel real familiar. It's starting to feel now the way it did back then. So
it is feeling like that, yeah.
All jokes aside, people, like, I'm not telling you to take all your money out the bank, but we definitely need to be more aware of what's going on in our economy and not just be worried about the first of the month. We need to keep some physical cash on us. We need to keep some gold on us. We need to save. We need to get out of debt. Got to pay that stuff off. I was going to go on a trip, I think in November. I still might go on a trip in November, but only if my girlfriend pays for it. Come on, Celine.
But why don't y'all treat yourselves to some silver's going crazy right now, gold's going crazy. If you would have, let's say 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and even when silver was around $20 an ounce, $25 an ounce, even right after the pandemic, it got down to $11 an ounce. If you would have just, took one of those trips off, tied your money up in silver or gold, it's a hedge against inflation. Now, look, where would you be at right now? You would have a nice little, you have a decent little nest egg. You have something, right? It would damn near, it would have doubled, if not tripled, right? And and where would you be at? You wouldn't, you'd be sitting pretty
on the beach in Cancun, Mexico, having a candlelight dinner with lobster tail and steak.
You would have cashed it all in, wouldn't you?
Making sweet love with a sunrise.
Right. So your memory
doing that with silver, and had I spent it on silver,
how would you? Hey, bro, listen.
Would have been in Las Vegas on a pergola, with a dude singing to me and my girl.
Okay.
With like beautiful views in the background of the Venetian Hotel. Had I bought physical gold,
you wouldn't done it, right?
Those memories would be lost.
Right. And those memories, that's what I'm trying to say. And those memories worth their weight in gold with you. I see it. But I'm just trying to explain to you. I'm trying to explain to you, man. You got to start diversifying a little bit. They ain't gonna hurt you.
Son. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, Celine.
Yeah, then none of it would matter.
What that silver gonna do if I get hit by a bus?
It's going to take care of your kids and your lady. You know what I'm saying?
They ain't
huh?
gonna do no silver.
You ain't worried about them.
They got life.
Bruh. It's not just about, like I said, it's just not about gold and silver. It's gonna be a lot of things. If you really want to get into that prepping lifestyle, right? Guns.
And what lifestyle?
Prepper.
Oh, prepper.
Them preppers.
I heard about you guys.
Yeah, them boys.
Don't say them. You mean us?
They're racking up guns and ammo.
You mean us boys?
Seeds. You know what I'm saying? Animals. Something jump off. They just go. They've been waiting for something to jump off. There's people out here just been waiting. They just waiting to bust out those MREs with packs of shelf stable, 25-year shelf stable.
What's the MRE?
What's those things called? They call MREs the food that lasts for like 25 years.
You got any of that?
Bust it open and add water.
Do you own some?
Huh?
Do you have any?
No, I don't have any, man. I don't have any of those, man. I need to stock some of that stuff. Stockpile some of them. And they used to sell those things. They were real popular.
They still do. You got to go to the Army surplus store.
Not even the Army surplus. They were selling them at Walmart. Like when they got real big. Like, I remember seeing them, man. You can just go buy some of them, put them away, man.
Awful sometimes. My cousin them had some.
You tasted one before?
Yeah, like they showed me how to do it. Like you pour a little water into a pouch and it shit starts smoking and getting hot. And
let's go.
Before you know it, you got steak and rice.
Let's go, baby.
What the hell? Like, what the hell did I just watch?
That's right. You
But
should go
on the
try
real,
one.
like,
That's a fun.
that's like if you have no power, no, like if things get real bad, like stuff like MREs, non-perishable foods, batteries, like Salim said, guns, ammunition. You know what I mean? Animals.
Mhm.
I mean, I've never seen so many chickens being raised in the suburbs in my life. I live in the suburbs. I drive through these neighborhoods and stuff, and I be seeing just random chickens roaming folks' yard, and these little modern chicken coops and stuff in folks'
Yeah.
backyard. It's really cool stuff, but they're doing it for a reason, man. Self-sustainability, man.
And there's,
Um,
I'm gonna tell you, a better survival meat than
Chicken?
chicken. Rabbits.
Oh man, I've been wanting some rabbit, bro.
Rabbits, boy. That's a good hustle right there. You know what I mean? So I
You about
I
to
would
get
look.
into rabbits?
I would love to get into rabbits. I would love to get into rabbits. And chickens are good too, but rabbits are easier to raise. They're cleaner. They're quieter. They're less of a headache, and I think this is just a more valuable meat. Um,
The rabbit meat is tasty.
Rabbit meat is good. So I would definitely check into the rabbit game.
What about squirrel? They're all over the place. You can pop a squirrel with a BB gun. Man.
Yeah, people like that squirrel meat, and then this raccoon possum. But guess what? In a time of a pandemic and panic, boy, they're gonna wipe out those squirrels. They're gonna wipe out rabbits. Probably they're gonna get wiped out. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look.
You better know how to grow and farm.
And you better know how to process an animal. Don't be surprised if y'all see me and Celine post a video up here of us processing a deer here in a couple months. Celine?
Yeah, I'm gonna bust one down.
Huh?
Yeah, we're gonna bust one
I'll be there
down.
with you, bro. We're going to Slack Adjuster Outdoors coming soon.
Let's go.
Huh?
We'll show you how to do it and everything. So it's gonna be fun. But yeah, man, just if this video don't do anything but stimulate your thought process, go look at some videos. Go look at some recent events that's happened in countries, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Cyprus. All of these are examples of hyperinflation and what's happened to their dollar and what drove their economy to the ground and why it's happened. I mean, you just got to watch. You got to do a deep dive into it and don't think that it can't happen, because it's gonna be a different ball game. It's gonna be a different ball game. We want the best for everybody.
All right, y'all. Let's prepare. Y'all let us know what y'all think about everything that was said in this video. Y'all agree with us, disagree with us. If you've made plans, if you haven't made plans, keep it real in the comments below. Share this video with a friend. If we suck, tell us we suck, man. Tell us you don't want to talk about this stuff, man. You want to be entertained. I hope y'all were entertained. Like, subscribe. Salim, you got anything for the people?
That's it, baby. I want y'all to do well. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Peace.